At the time of writing, it's been 4 days since Microsoft suddenly closed down 4 different studios in a single day and out of nowhere. One of those studios was Tango Gameworks, who was still riding the high of their most successful and critically acclaimed release 1 year prior. For Microsoft, this was the most acclaim that one of their published works has had in over a decade, yet they shut the studio down anyway, and with no forewarning. To me, this represented the darkest of what the AAA side of the industry has been barreling towards for a while now. Costs are ballooning too much to be sustainable, and studios are either on the verge of shutting down or already have. This is especially an issue regarding studios owned by Microsoft and Sony, as they treat the industry like it's a tech business rather than an entertainment one, expecting infinite growth and wanting to make as much money as possible, rather than being satisfied with a release that's successful within its own terms. With all of these factors, an implosion is practically inevitable, and we've already been seeing the tragic results of this for a bit over a year now. Throughout all of these recent developments, though, the one phrase that I've been seeing more and more often is just play indie games. And I want to talk about that because I've sort of been feeling the same way lately. Understandably, a lot of people are really bummed out about these recent mass layoffs and closures, myself included. For the next 2 days after these closures, I pretty much was stuck in a depressive slump, constantly worried about where things were going. It had already been clear that stuff like this was going to happen, but I hadn't ever expected it to happen to a studio with as much energy, enthusiasm, and success as Tango. It was a big shock. I hold a lot of respect for their work, and then suddenly they're just kicked out with no warning. I didn't even really feel like playing anything either, because it just kind of felt gross to participate in an industry that is just gradually destroying its own workforce. But then, on the 3rd day after this event, a demo for a game called Angeline Era popped up, and I'd been looking forward to it already, so I gave it a shot. And I think it's safe to say that it pretty much single-handedly restored my enthusiasm for games again. A unique and well-rounded combat system, exploration that encourages checking every nook and cranny for secrets, a writing style with a lot of mystique that draws you into the world, and a stellar soundtrack that ties it all together. Angeline Era is nothing short of the best work yet to come out of Analgesic Productions, a development duo that have been making games in their own unique style for over 10 years now. Playing the demo felt like a tremendous breath of fresh air after being in a slump that felt like the medium that I appreciate so much was practically crumbling. Video games are an art form. Not only that, but a combination of many art forms coming together to form one cohesive experience. It takes an immense amount of work to create any game, even a small one. Typically games are made by a team because the amount of work and differing skill sets required is just too numerous and vast. Essentially, people who make games are usually doing so out of a passion for the medium. They want to tell a story, or let people experiment with a fun set of mechanics, or just make something totally weird that only they could come up with. And you see this more than anywhere else in indie games. Made by either a small team or a single solo developer, indie games have quite frankly been the hidden backbone of this industry for a while now. Even some large studios today got their start as a smaller independent group. And of course, some of the biggest hits in recent years have come from the indie sphere. Being able to make games without the kind of overhead that you have to deal with from a AAA publisher means that indies are free to innovate and experiment. Simply put, if you're looking for games made with passion and care, you'll find a whole lot of it with indie games. Now, that's not to say that indies are the only games made with any sort of passion. I firmly believe that nobody becomes a game developer with the intention of making a bad product, unless they're making a scam or something. There is still plenty of good to be found in both AA and AAA studios as well. Some good examples I think for AA would be Remedy or Larian, and some good examples of AAA would be Capcom or Nintendo. The lines between these things are not entirely black and white, but that's fine, because really gaming is at its best when good stuff is coming from all sides of the industry anyway. But the reason that I really want to focus on indies is a few things. One major reason is that indies are often overlooked because they lack the means for effective marketing. As a result, a ton of really incredible games usually fall under the mainstream radar, and don't get the attention that they might otherwise deserve. Another reason is that indies tend to be much cheaper than AAA or even some AA releases, meaning that they're generally more affordable. Essentially, if you can give an indie game an audience, there's a higher chance of people that are interested being able to actually buy it than with most other games. Stuff like Terraria, Northern Journey, Stardew Valley, and Corn Kidz 64 are all under $20 each, and some great indie games are even totally free. Itch.io is a website that is a goldmine of incredible free indie games, as a lot of game jams happen on there. I highly recommend just going on there sometime and downloading a few that look interesting, because it's a great way to spend a couple hours just checking out some unique and interesting stuff. The main point that I'm trying to make with this video is that things may seem bleak right now with AAA, and put simply they are. They very much are. But if you're feeling let down by the industry in recent times, then maybe try giving a look to the indie side of things, and see what you find. You may have to dig a bit, but you're practically guaranteed to find something that you'll enjoy. There's a countless number of fantastic creations out there made with tons of passion and care by developers who love this stuff just as much as anyone, and they're just waiting for someone to find it and fall in love with what they've created. Going forward, I think a primary use of this channel is going to be put towards highlighting stuff that I've found, really enjoyed, and just want to share. Not only games, but other stuff as well, and maybe even some non-media topics in there. Basically, I just want to talk about stuff that I love and be able to share it with others who may take an interest. I already have quite a few video ideas lined up, and even some new projects of my own that should hopefully be showing up pretty soon. And if that sounds interesting to you, then a subscription is always appreciated, so you can check out any of this stuff once it's out there. So, as of now, that is the current goal of this channel. To spread the word of cool stuff that's managed to generally go under the radar. And hoo boy, is there a lot of cool freaking stuff.